Okay, I believe we're going. We're live now. Yeah, here we are, the podcast finale week.
Woo!
Yeah,
It
we're
was.
finally done with it, Ryan. We're finally done with season 39.
Uh, I would say that it was kind of like how we were talking about earlier this video, how 2019 has been a mixed year for me. A lot of good, but also a lot of bad. It was kind of this season was a representation of that. There were a
Yeah,
lot of
it started off so great. I thought it could be a potential top 10 season. Um, and then the merge happens.
they did see through the. I still think some great stuff happened, especially in this episode with Dan, or not Dan,
Oh,
Dean.
damn. Yeah.
The
don't
Dan.
don't bring that up. No. Nothing
Yeah.
great can happen with Dan and Survivor anymore.
Uh, but but like especially Dean this episode, like there were moments in the end when it's that like it's between uh Tommy and him where I'm like Dan might win this.
Dean.
Um Dean, fuck. Stop casting people with similar name in the same season. You see what I'm not gonna
Hey, at
say.
least they don't have the exact same name, which has happened. I feel way too much.
I mean, they've had a couple of Kellys in the same
Yeah,
season, a couple of Johns, but
yeah,
a couple of Ryans. But
yeah.
we'll see.
Um, but I'm just gonna say it right out. I think Dean was the MVP of this episode.
I mean, yeah. I mean, just with what he was able to do with what he
Yeah.
had, and plus,
Yeah. I could
and,
go for it.
and plus what he did with Tommy, where like Tommy is the guy everyone goes to. Tommy went to him for this, and it's like, oh shit. Uh, Big mistake. And it was like, and he was able to use that in that scene. He kind of out Tommy. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
me with all the information.
Yeah, I gotta be completely honest. If I was in the jury at that final tribal council, there's a good chance I vote for Dean in that.
Honestly, when I was like near the end of my notes, I was split. I was like, damn it, like because Tommy and Dean, they both make really, really great cases, and like I've been using the phrase sleeper hit throughout this entire, like since the beginning of this channel, and like Dean was the ultimate sleeper threat. He did not, like no one expected much from him, and then he ended up, coming in second overall.
hmm Yeah, I really was going to be surprised if he got one vote at the final tribal council. But he managed to get two, which, I mean, it
Well, I
might
mean,
not seem like a lot, but it was considered that Tommy was so in the lead.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's just because Dean's finale game was so great that it was
Yeah.
like,
And even last episode was really great for Dean. He
yeah.
he got the MVP last week too. So this is like 2 weeks of him being MVP. And like I want to go back. I wonder how many times we've given Tommy the MVP of a week. Because
I know
I don't know if we've given him one. Maybe like once.
maybe one.
Like at the beginning of the season.
I think it's hard because, like what they were saying at Final Tribal, he didn't necessarily get like a lot of his stuff was behind the scenes. He never really got any advantages. He never really got he never won immunity. He was basically, like everything he accomplished without any of that.
Yeah. I think he's going to be very divisive because, as they also brought up at Tribal Council, is he was one of the three things you need to win the game. Like, he was really good at one, but he was lacking in the other two. Whereas
But do
Dean,
you really?
I don't think Dean killed any of them. I mean, advantages, he had so much, like, going on there, but, like, a lot of it was just, he was just good at a lot of
Yeah,
it.
I feel. Well, I mean, it also depends. Like, Sandra, a lot of her game was social.
Mhm.
I mean, like, and she won 2 seasons. Like, those, she never, I forget, did she ever win any immunity challenges?
I don't believe so, no.
I mean, so there's that going for her. Granted, like, she had the opportunity, she got, like, advantages and stuff to play.
Uh-huh.
Uh, granted, She blew her one idol in Heroes vs. Villains, right?
I
Or-
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you may not be strong at everything. Not everyone is going to be strong at everything when they come into a game. When it comes to like any kind of like competition based thing, you got to play to your strengths. Play with what you're, or yeah, you got to kind of have to play to your strength. What Nora was saying in the reunion, it was like, you know, kind of like be true to you, and like like Tommy with what he had, like oh crap, like his he could be a potential social threat. So he had to play it down a little bit, but like that was his biggest strength. He knew how to talk
Mhm.
to kids. He knew how
Yeah.
to like have people rely on him and look up to him. So he knows he's a people person, and that's his greatest strength.
Yeah, I just think it's so funny because he is like built like you imagine he would have won an immunity challenge in the season. He
Yeah, I
never
mean,
did.
how many
He was trying
great
so
leaders have a
hard.
six pack?
Yeah.
Mine didn't. Uh,
Yeah, I know. Like it's weird that he did not win a single immunity the entire season. And also, with the him trying to find that immunity idol, he knew how to get to it, but he couldn't get that last clue. And then Dean was
yeah.
just like, the swing.
I mean, the swing brought him close.
Yeah,
But yeah, like when Tommy said that, I was like, Tommy, why would you choose some late game? Like, granted, everyone's coming to you and all that stuff, but it's like this is where people get the most desperate. This is
yeah,
when they see, they see the money and they're like, okay, I need to win this game and I need to do whatever I can to get the money.
yeah. Because
Like,
getting that guarantees you Final Four, except unless there's a idol nullifier out there.
which happened to Janet, and I'm like, ah, shit.
I
She should
was,
have,
yeah.
she shouldn't have said something.
Yeah, she would have won had that I don't know if I had not been played on her.
Yeah,
100% she wins the game. Like I don't even think that there's much of a question in that
I mean,
because she would probably then they would vote out Lauren and then most likely I mean maybe
well,
I guess
it depends
yeah
on who won immunity and who faced her in fire. If she was the one that was going to
I
face.
would say most likely it would still be Nora because I don't think Janet would have been good at that immunity challenge. And so then we're looking at is Tommy still going to be able to talk Nora into keeping him? And even then, I still think Janet beats Tommy in the final three.
And honestly, because they did, I guess because they were making some decent points about like Tommy's, other gameplays and stuff. Janet has done a lot in the game. So yeah, I think Janet could have potentially won, but I think it's interesting. What won her over with so many people was their ability to make fire, and it's
Yeah.
because her ability to make fire that she was deemed too much of a threat at that point.
It's very ironic, honestly. Like the irony of that. Episode one, she immediately builds fire, and that's what causes her to go home.
Oh, wow. But one thing I wanted to bring up, there was no recap,
Yeah, not at all.
which I was like, I know they've kind of done away with it for a lot of this season, where they just went straight into it. But like, like the finale recap, it's like, oh, you get to see everything again, and it's like, oh, it gets you pumped, it gets you pumped,
Yeah,
and
it also builds up each of the players, giving a little showcase of what their game has been so far to make it still seem like, ooh, they might have a chance, even though, there's a good chance they don't.
honestly, we had a solid final five. Even Nora, like she did have a case to make with. She did play a sometimes too truthful, too honest game, blowing up everyone's strategy. She
Yeah,
did survive that, by the way. She did not pay for her for that.
yeah,
Justice was never served.
uh-huh.
And she won 3 different immunity challenges. Nora, depending, I don't know, like with who she faced again, there was no way she was going to win, but she did have a semi compelling case near the
Mhm.
end.
Do you think she should have sent Tommy and Lauren into the fire making challenge, or do you think it was a good move for her to send Dean in there as well?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I know Lauren has definitely made some big moves in this
Yeah,
game. Um, but I mean, in some regards, it's kind of similar to Tommy in the sense of like neither of them really won any like individual immunity challenges. I don't. I think Lauren did she win her Island of the Idols thing?
Lauren won an immunity challenge.
Oh, she did.
Yeah,
Um, so I mean, she had that going for her. She was very likable, and she made power moves, especially earlier on.
yeah,
Um, I mean, it's tough to say. Um, I think I was right about Tommy. He was kind of like one of the things of like is a sleeper threat. He played that pretty much all the way through, where he was never like the biggest target, and he never, made it aware like, oh shit, Tommy is the target or something like that. He kind of always played a pretty low game, and the new meta with Survivor, you kind of have to be low key because if you're burning bright,
uh,
unless you're Nora, who everything she does, it just counts off like, oh, she's just nuts.
yeah,
Um, and if you're being loud and everything, no one's really going. Everyone's going to gun for you if you're being
yeah.
loud about it.
Yeah, I gotta be honest though, I was really rooting against Tommy in this episode just because from like episode one, he had the winner's edits, and every episode it kept being very apparent he's the winner. And I just wanted that little curveball where it was just like, wait, Tommy's not the winner?
Well, I mean, like I said, like because before even the episode started, I was saying like Tommy's probably going to win this. This is the first time I've been right since Tyson,
Nice.
honestly. So it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute since I've guessed correctly. But it's like interesting in the sense of because sometimes you do get those winners edits or like you can think that, but it's also like state of mind as well, where last season,
Yeah, well, there's no way you could have had Chris as a winner's edits. There's just no way.
exactly, or
But there was no Edge of Extinction in this one. This was a straight up game of Survivor, and I feel like they could have at least hidden it a little better. They made Tommy the focal point of almost any story, even if he wasn't who should be the focal points.
mm,
Except for the dance stuff, they tried to keep him away from that because obvious reasons.
yeah. And we'll get into that part because especially during the reunion, they brought up all the stuff.
Yeah,
Because, like you mentioned, this was a very controversial season in the sense where it brought up some big topics when it
yeah.
came, different races, when it came to, sexist ideas, and when it came to, um, sexual harassment.
Hmm. Would you say this is a bottom 10 season?
No,
You wouldn't.
I don't think, yeah, that stuff kind of happened, but, it wasn't necessarily a season where I was bored.
Uh-huh.
Now, if I'm bored during a season, then I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested, or it's not that compelling or anything like that. There wasn't anything here where, I was like, granted, there were times where it was kind of low, and I was like, the one episode, the first merge episode, where I was like,
Yeah.
this be
It was
over.
really hard to watch. That was like I wanted to just turn off Survivor. Like
Yeah,
if we weren't doing this podcast, I probably would have just stopped and then resumed it the next week.
yeah, that was a rough point, but I don't think it's one of the worst because, like I said, there was a lot of good things about this season.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I don't. We'll have to do a season rankings because I think I might have it somewhere in the bottom 10.
Well, when we do that video, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
Let's get on to the first immunity challenge, I guess, because we still haven't talked about that.
We're kind of jumping over, but
Yeah, we're just kind of doing everything because there's a lot to cover because this was a lot of stuff that happened.
oh yeah. First immunity challenge. This one was big. This one was, a bunch of obstacle course and then the balls, where, Dean had the right idea with the strategy. It's like, once you get the one furthest away, because no one's saying you have to do the first one
Yeah.
first. Once you get the one that's furthest away and put all your energy on that, okay, you got that down, the next ball is going to be easy.
Yeah, I was literally thinking that as they were doing it, like, why don't you just do the hardest one first to get that? Because if you get that, then next one's easy.
Yeah, you have to do that anyway, so might as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw that one time someone just missed that first one and they could have easily caught it again and then kept going for the next one. But Jeff was like, "Oh no, they got to start over." And then they're like, "Okay, I guess they got to start over." And then they just put it back and I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess that's a rule or something. I don't know."
I don't know. But, I thought it was a good like obstacle challenge and everything. Uh yeah.
Poor Janet. She was struggling getting up that rope ladder.
When I was seeing that, I was like, hell, that's happened to me sometimes. It can be tough with rope.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, like I thought she was gonna like fall or actually hurt herself.
that's gonna happen. I thought, Janet's probably not gonna win this one, but I never thought
Yeah,
she was like in danger because she was kind of relatively low to the ground too.
yeah. Oh, but there was that one time that she did fall in that one other immunity challenge, and it was a small fall, and she still tore up a lot of skin.
Fair enough. But come on, that's not gonna stop Janet.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But Dean wins second immunity challenge in a row that he's won. Really separating himself from the goat army.
yeah. I never I never quite saw him as a goat per se. It was
Mhm.
just more like I said, his game, the way he had to play was seemed like he didn't have anything going on. He was just a pretty boy, just smiling, just messing with his hair,
Uh-huh.
and that's basically what he had to do early on and around like the merge, where he just kind of had to play dumb. He kind of had to do the
Mhm.
Bobby of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at him as goat because the first like 2 or 3 episodes he had no like moments, and then he got saved by Kelly with an idol, and then even
He
then he
also
was still in the
got
bottom.
showmance
What?
for the potential showmance that
Yeah,
almost sprung. They
yeah,
decided to go for the girl instead. I'm
yeah.
sorry for the name, but like
Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah. Oh yeah, Chelsea.
Remember her? People thought she was going to win this season.
Oh yeah, I was one of the people that put her high on my list.
Yeah. uh, but yeah. Oh, next time we do a fantasy draft, we might need to do a point order based on how far people get into the game. Because I would have won if we did it that way. I got so many people near the end.
Yeah, you did. But hey,
It doesn't matter because you
I chose the big Kahuna.
yeah, you got the first pick. You won because of a coin flip.
Not necessarily. More like uh dye painted red on, pretty much every single side except for one, Dean being the one side that was painted blue. Rolled red. That's
Yeah.
not genius.
I don't know.
That's just
I think you just pulled a Dean and just won a coin flip.
I don't think so. I was assessing everyone, and he seemed like the person that was most likely to win,
Yeah.
just purely out of sleeper threat, because those are the people that win these days. And also the fact that, like he seems very charismatic. He, has a good bod. He has those things going for him, and that can make him win the game. And yeah,
Yeah. I'm just saying I was also going to pick him first, but you got him first, so I had to go with Karishma. And she let me down for a long time. I had to go through a lot of suffering.
to the merge.
Yeah, I had to wait till like her last 3 episodes for me to actually be like, yes, Karishma.
She did have a strong finish in the sense of like, all right, she started to play the game more and not be the poor pitiful me as much
Hmm.
because she was singing that tune for quite a long time.
Yeah, I don't think she's coming back. I don't think she wants to come back.
No. Um, and I think it's okay. I think Karishma, you know,
I think her
she,
story is out. She played it out. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
but we just need Elaine to come back. She needs to be
yeah.
here again.
She definitely needs to be back. I think there's no question, like if it comes to like returning player season, she's probably going to be one of the first ones they contact. I think
Yeah,
Kelly, especially after like the finale and everything with the reunion,
yeah,
and I get just for the simple fact of like how she felt, after being voted off and everything, and the whole thing with Dan. Like, CBS will probably want to bring her back just because, like, she didn't really,
yeah,
A, she doesn't want to be defined because of that, and B, she doesn't, um, also she did feel a little bit better towards like CBS because nothing really happened to Dan during
yeah.
that.
Yeah, something should have been said like day one when both her and Molly were saying, "Hey, he's kind of being a little too touchy." Something should have
Yeah,
been said right there. And then if it happened like the next day, then it's like, okay, well, I guess you're not playing this game.
yeah. But
But yeah,
um, when we got back to let's talk about the tribal after
yeah,
that. Janet was telling Tommy because, Tommy and Mommy Alliance,
mhm,
about the idol and everything. It was Janet's fault for saying like put all the votes on me, stuff like that. It's like
yeah. You never do that. You never ever do that.
also, and here's the thing: if you haven't said to anyone you have an idol, don't tell anyone you have an idol.
Yeah.
Um, because like I said, at the end, that's when all the knives come out, and it's like, all right, it's a mad scramble to be in final three, and you
Mhm.
don't know what.
Yeah, and especially Janet knew she was the best at fire, and so she was trying to play that up, which is terrible. Like I guess you never know when an idle nullifier is going to be in play. Like that's really hard to predict that. Um,
Yeah,
but now I think now we're in a situation where even if you have an idol, you
you're
can't
not.
you're not safe because now this is the second person to be voted after playing an idol.
It's like, and that's the funny thing too, where it's like we're so used to having that kind of like security in a game where you find the idol, you're good for at least one vote. Now that the nullifiers, who knows, they might be a staple. I definitely think it's coming back next season.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't guarantee your safety unless it's done by like the wrong person on the wrong time and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
I don't think it should be as easy to find as a hidden immunity idol, like to get. It should be a very rare kind of thing to get.
Yeah. It should be definitely like either kind of like with this one where it was like, end game, like the final tribal before fire, or something at the merge, something like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, maybe the merge because I think it's too much of it's here because an idol is probably getting played at Final Five.
Final
Um,
five. We cannot forget game changers.
yeah, no.
All of them came out, and then by default,
Shuri, who I mean I think she could have won if that didn't happen.
yeah, like legit. Like I thought, especially since almost everyone that I was rooting for was starting to get out, I was like, she could possibly win this, but then, alas, with that crazy night, she went home.
Yeah, no, it's I don't like thinking about game changers.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a good season at all.
it was a good season. It's just a lot of people that I was rooting for got out early because they
Yeah,
had a lot of crazy. But as a result, yeah, some great players went out, but also gave some other new players to shine. like Culpepper, like Sarah, stuff like that.
It just seemed like there was a lot of floaters that kept kind of hanging around a little longer than they should have.
Yeah.
And also, most of them weren't even game changers. Like 80% of them weren't.
I feel, yeah, some of them weren't necessarily game changers.
Yeah.
Any, uh,
Like I would have rather them just called it another All Star season, like All Stars 2. Like that would at least that would have been a little better.
I guess because saying All Stars 2 would be kind of tacky. Just saying like game changers. Yeah, I agree. Not everyone was a game changer, but they had to call it something.
Yeah. I don't know. They could have come up with a different name than Game Changers. That's all I'm saying.
But
Or at least
yeah,
just get a better selection of people.
I feel like the selection wasn't necessarily bad. It's just some of the players did not play great.
Yeah. I mean, I think the winner, Sarah, I think she only got
Yeah,
brought back because of Tony. I think they wanted them to have another kind of like feud, but then Tony went out early, and then she was
but
able.
then as a result, Sarah was able to like dominate in that.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, they're coming back again in season
yeah, and
40.
they're on the same tribe.
Ooh,
Yeah,
is
and
this
Sandra's on that tribe too.
all right? We'll get more into that one.
It's gonna be crazy.
Get more into that one in the next video or the one app. We'll figure it out.
Uh-huh.
But when Janet went, I'm like, that was rough. Because like, yeah, I understand she's a big threat, but at the same time, it's like, man, I'm rooting for her.
Yeah.
It was like those were the two I was like really, really rooting for this finale. One of them won, but it was like I didn't want to see Janet to go just yet.
Yeah, I just wanted Janet to win. She was my biggest chance, in my opinion, of winning this season on my team. And she was my number ninth pick.
I'm gonna, but all right. So the last challenge. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
When I saw that and all the like shakiness of that, I'm like, how that one looked difficult as all hell.
Oh yeah.
Like I knew that Nora could probably do it better than anyone because she knows how to concentrate.
She's a yogi.
She's Yogi. Yeah, like when that happened, I was like, all right, Nora's probably gonna win this. Which her winning that, it's like, oh, okay. And can I just say her little like monologue of like who's going to fire? It, it's like
I
it's I know why she's doing it. She wants to explain the reason behind everything. But the fact that it's like, if you're on the receiving end of that, you want to, get more time to practice shit like that. It's like, oh God, please, Nora, just say it, spit it out.
it was painful as a viewer too, because like we want to know what's happening, but it was giving us blue balls. We just wanted to know.
Alas, but
Uh,
um, but Lauren taking it to heart, I guess because she knew that whoever it was, she was not going to have a good shot against.
yeah, she thought she was the worst at it because she hadn't been making fire.
And I mean, even if Tommy were the one to be in there, Tommy said he just never made fire there just because he didn't want that to be like, a threat or anything.
Uh,
So I feel like at that point, that was her only saving grace was not having to go to fire.
uh, yeah, yeah. Well, do you think Nora should have given her necklace to someone and did
No,
fire? No?
no, I don't think Nora was going to win this game, even with a big ballsy move like that.
I don't know. I think that there's a lot of respect that gets done with that one move.
Respect can be, but
Because Chris basically won with that move.
Chris had to make that move.
Yeah.
I don't think Nora, because like logically speaking, that's one of the dumbest moves you can make. It worked out for Chris because he had to make it out his resume. Um,
Yeah,
for
and I'm
Nora,
pretty sure Rick beats Gavin in fire.
yeah,
Because also, if we, going back to that season, apparently Chris was the fastest person to ever make fire in the history of Survivor in that challenge, and Rick was right next to him. Like, it was close.
Oh. So yeah, that would have been that would have probably changed up the season ending a
Yeah,
lot.
and I think a lot more people would have been happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, with last season, the fact that someone that only played the game, was it 9 days?
Yeah. Oh, so he got voted out on day 8, and then came back on day 35.
So like
There's
only like
13,
13.
I think. Yeah.
So a third of he was only in the game for about a third of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy because nothing like that on Survivor has ever happened before.
Yeah.
And I think, because I've always wondered, wow, wouldn't it be something if someone got voted out and still won? We almost had that in Pearl Islands, but
Yeah. Yeah, and in South Pacific too.
true. Um, but South Pacific, that was
Aussie almost won.
yeah. Well, I'm counting like as in the finale, stuff like that.
Yeah.
As in like the final
Yeah.
three or two.
Yeah, I mean, he just needed to win that final immunity challenge, and he wins.
These
Because
lob
there's no way that anyone else is beating him if he makes it to that final 3.
man, just like
The alternate timelines of Survivor are weird.
there are like numbers of different
Yeah.
potential winning scenarios, stuff like
Where
that.
literally one little change to a season can literally completely change how the season goes.
Drive swap a different advantage, someone
Yeah.
being in the game for medical reasons.
Yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
things go down to getting an outcome.
uh, um, and with things like that, it's like this season it had like not talking about the Dan thing, but there were a few things that like shook it up, like tribal swaps, and definitely with I feel with Island of the Idols, it made them play harder.
Mhm.
Well, at least people that went. It was like, oh, okay, like now they have an advantage of the game, and that gives them the
Yeah.
opportunity to make moves.
Yeah. A lot of our valuable player of the weeks usually went to Island of the Idols, like a good chunk of them, just because they had to play that week.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Especially with some of their tasks, not counting the one where it's like, here, you just lost your vote. Here's
Yeah.
a piece of paper. Go nuts.
I still hated that so much. I think that was
Yeah,
by far the worst twist of Island of the
that was
Idols.
rather cheap. That was rather
Yeah.
cheap.
Like, I know it didn't actually impact the game, but the fact that he got like punished in a sense
Yeah,
by picking an obvious advantage out of the
you're
sky.
you're supposed to look for these things.
Yeah. Like they were basically trying to train us not to do that anymore.
Well, let's see if they next season. But more on that later.
Yeah,
But,
watch Rob is going to find the same thing hiding in the tree and then be like, "Wait, I have to go to Island of the Idols now?"
aren't they bringing that Edge of Extinction for that?
Yeah, they have Edge of Extinction.
Which I kind of like because one of the great things about last season was the fact of like, oh, okay, so like they're still part of the season,
Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah.
still feel like they're there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Rob is going to get a piece of paper, and then he's going to go to a new island called Island of the Idols, and then we're going to see a giant statue of Russell Hantz, and he's just going to go, "I don't even like the Boston Red Sox."
No, I feel like the Island of the Idols is just Cochran. That's why he's in this season. That's why Cochran isn't in this season.
Yeah. It's mostly all recent seasons except for Cochrane and season 30 Mike. And besides that, it's like all recent.
Pretty much, except for like some
got-
old school.
Yeah, we got Ethan, Amber, Sandra, Yul, Parvati.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's it.
But let's talk more about this season.
It's really hard. It's really hard not to talk about season 40.
I know, but we just got we just have to talk about Final Tribal.
Okay. So yeah, Lauren and Dean are sent to make fire. Um,
And Dean wins.
yeah,
Uh,
okay. I was going to go into a little bit more of their strategy about this.
well, I mean, Dean was like,
We forgot about the best part of the episodes. Nora and Dean went on a date.
I don't think it was the best. I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. Like Nora
It's
just
just so
fascinated.
it was out of left field because Nora hated Dean, and they're so polar opposites from each other. And
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
it's
Nora's just crushing on him for the whole rest of the finale.
even breaking confessional. Or it's like, oh, I saw Dean stretching over there.
Oh my god,
I wasn't looking
I
at love, but
I was dying laughing when that happened.
it's too late for another showmance.
Yeah, and what's funny is that she was like, "I haven't liked anyone out here," and I was like, "What about Jason? Did you forget about Jason?"
And not like.
Oh no, I think there was something going on there.
I didn't. I don't know. My mindset isn't necessarily there all the time. I mean, with 21st century, it's like, platonic friendships are so common that
Yeah.
I don't really these
But
days.
she compared him to an ex-boyfriend that she had that she liked. Liked his personality and all that stuff. It was there.
Uh, I mean, I don't know. I don't know your dating history, but I know personally none of the girls I've dated have had a common theme other than like they went to our college.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, there are a few other girls, but like not necessarily in the sense of like they were all different people.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah. Well, I still feel like Jason got the short end of the stick. I feel like he got swept under the rug once he got eliminated.
I mean that kind of happens when you go pre-merge.
Yeah, which is stupid.
It is sad.
I forgot a lot of people in the pre-merge, which is crazy because I liked a lot of the people at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, like Molly.
Yeah,
Uh,
Molly, Tom Laidlaw, first Canadian to ever play the game,
oh
and he
yeah.
went out pre-merge.
Oh yeah. Man, I miss the reunions where they talk to everyone, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I was surprised that the pre-merge jury wasn't up there. I mean, just the pre-merge wasn't up there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pre-merge was up there.
Were they? I didn't even see them.
Yeah, they were in the back row.
Oh, okay, that's probably why. I was too focused on everything else.
Exactly. I mean, exactly, That's the one
Yeah.
thing. It's like talk to a bunch we talked to, the people that we really enjoyed this season and then commercials, 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 commercials,
A
commercials.
lot of commercials.
Like, I mean, I'm watching this on the CBS All Access, so I'm seeing all the like Muppet commercials for the Facebook Nook
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever.
the Facebook portal thing. I saw that like 7 times last night.
Bro, it's played in the same commercial break so many different times. And we're not even talking like the one with Kermit where it's like, oh yeah, a really ugly sweater. And they had the short version, they have a long version. It was the short version both times.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, like, I get it. You want some advertising space, but fuck, man, it shouldn't be the entire thing because, like, it's 23 minutes,
Yeah,
and not including, like the credits and everything. Literally, a two-thirds of it is commercials.
yeah. It was crazy. It sucks too because like each person contestant only got like a minute of talking time, which is not what we want. We want to see what's going on with them now.
Yeah,
Um,
and the part they did spend a long time was one of the unpleasant things.
Yeah, and which I figured that they were gonna have to do that. I did not think that they were gonna have like a legit sit down interview.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was the one thing they couldn't really avoid
Hmm.
reunion because like if they didn't address it, they would be like, "Why didn't you address this?" So like they
Yeah.
had to, and also
Yeah.
reassure people at home, like like something like this will not happen again. As
Hmm.
soon as we get a hint of it, we're gonna deal with it. Um,
Yeah. New procedures are in place now so that it will be a lot better for the castaways, for production, all that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah. Um, but speaking of, right in between where we're talking about the fire and I'm sorry, there's squeaking bed going on in the next room, so I know
Ah,
what's happening.
okay, whoa. There's a
It,
little fire making going on over there.
yeah, friction. Uh, I can hear it, so it kind of caught me off guard. But anyway, final try.
uh, yeah, go for it.
Uh, so out of Tommy, Nora, and Dean, like I think it was a solid one. I didn't think Nora really had a good shot.
Mhm.
Um, she had a good argument in the sense of like she's played a pretty honest game and she's won 3 different challenges.
And there's no other survivor like Nora.
No, no, completely unique. Uh, she is definitely one in a million. She definitely was not in the herd. She was heard. That was my favorite quote by her, where it's like
Yeah,
that is
I
pretty.
I'm gonna probably use that actually, like in real life.
Yeah. I mean, I think because I have kind of lived by a similar philosophy in a lot of different ways, but like wow, like it is something where it's like that is such a good quote, not just because of the wordplay, because I can be a sucker for good wordplay,
Uh,
but like the message behind it, where it's like don't be like everybody else, be yourself, and be like don't go Robert Frost, don't go the road everyone's going down, go your own road.
less traveled.
Anywho,
uh,
uh,
yeah, definitely Nora had the biggest uphill battle to handle, and I think everyone halfway through kind of was just like, "Yeah, Nora, you're not winning." And it was so funny because there's this one moment where Tommy was saying that he brought Dean with him, and then Nora was like, "I brought him too." I was just like, Nora, you did not do that. You were trying to get him out for so long.
yeah, yeah, it's like you can't bullshit near the end. That's when everything comes out, basically.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the jury was fair, where it was like Tommy, because a lot of the stuff he did was behind the scenes, and also he did kind of like blindside a lot of his alliances and stuff. Like he had a bunch of different final 2 deals, final 3 deals.
Hmm.
I noticed.
Yeah, I
Pulling
know. The
Jeff,
light is getting in my way now.
pulling the Jeff. Just remember in the reunion, he was like, "Hey, yeah, yeah, crowd of people trying to talk about the most serious point too." Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, they brought a good point in the end where it's like, Tommy, though I, thought he was, probably one of the best players this season. I mean, obviously he won, but like
Yeah.
stuff with you know, he did burn some bridges. He did blindside a few people along the way.
Hmm.
Like even early game where he jumped ships with Jack and Jamal. Um, yeah, like early on it was I think yeah, I think it was back when it was original Vokai when they were getting out Molly and everything.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then like and it's kind of like what he says. It's like you kind of have to do that in Survivor. But Dean with his counter argument. Um, Honestly, his counter argument was really, really good. Whereas, like, hey, I
Yeah.
didn't just these guys anything. The people I made deals with, I brought or like I honored that and stuff like that. It was kind of like he he was convincing. That's why I was kind of torn of like, oh shit, could Dean actually win this?
Yeah. Yeah, same. Definitely going into this, he was like fourth out of fifth place, in my opinion. Like, I think he only really beat Nora. But then his arguments and stuff, I was just like, wow, that was crazy.
I'm home.
Oh, hey, what's up? I'm doing the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So good.
Hi.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, um, but I also one thing I liked about Dean too was how much he emphasized positivity and like coming to things from a positive standpoint, because
Mhm.
state of mind can play so much into not just games or anything like Survivor, but like in life in general. Like think good thoughts and good things will happen.
Mhm.
I've personally been, let's put it this way, I've had a charisma outlook on life and I've had a Dean outlook on life.
Uh-huh.
My life's been better with the Dean one.
Yeah, the Dean one is a way better way to live life. uh, than feeling
Um,
sorry for yourself the whole time.
yeah, yeah. And that's also a great message too, because part of the reason Lauren lost the fire making challenge was that negative energy on herself.
Yeah.
Put
She
that
went in
on.
already thinking that okay, I lost.
If you go in doing that, you kind of lose any chance you have of winning. Um, going or like recently Sunday, I was at this huge Pokemon Go tournament. We're talking over 300 people.
Mhm.
I was facing someone in the first round who was ranked number 20 in the world last season.
Wow.
I did not know this going in.
Uh-huh.
I seen him talked about on different videos, but I didn't know how big of a deal he was. But it's like, I was like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna face him. Yeah, he won the first match out of three, but I just corrected myself and went forward. Like, I'm not gonna be intimidated just because he's a good player.
Mhm.
And you kind of have to have that same mentality of like, all right, positive, keep calm, and go forward. Like you can still pull it through in the end. And I think that was part of Lauren's downfall.
Yeah. I do have to say I don't know how well my chance would be at Survivor now with the fire making challenge because I do think I would probably be one of the worst ones out there. Like I would be like, okay, I guess I'm going to just practice making fire all day, but um, I
I
don't
think
know how well I would win.
I think what would happen if I got cast on Survivor, beforehand, I would go visit my dad, who is like a survival nut.
Hmm.
Um, excuse me. Like he lives in the wilderness. Like he loves going camping, stuff like that. And also he was in the army. And plus he's in like a rural part, like small town, like, a lot of wilderness nearby. So like he knows the outdoors. I would probably just do like a little mini boot camp of like, all right, this is how you make fire. This is how you look for this. This is how you look for that. So I wouldn't be too worried going in.
Yeah, I think that you need to, in the early days of the game, be one of the people there helping with the fire, even if you're not the main person. Just like being able to
Learn.
be there and learn from it and take it in. Like you'll be able to learn within like a week or so.
Exactly. I mean, once you know how, it becomes super easy, like Rob.
Yeah,
Once
exactly.
he learned, wow, that was the first Island of the Idols. Rob.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so is there anything else that we forgot to cover?
Yeah.
Of just the main show.
Um, of the main show, no. Um, I think we covered everything. I mean, we already talked about Tommy winning so many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah,
I will.
and the two people who voted for Dean were Aaron and Elizabeth.
Yeah. Aaron, I feel like because he's another muscly guy and he got voted out because of his individual wins, like
Mhm.
mad respect that way, where it's like, all right, game recognizes game. I'm not sure about Elizabeth. I think
Yeah,
like I said, near the end, it could have been, Tommy or it could have been Dean because Dean's endgame and endgames can pretty much shape your entire game
yeah,
because that people see most. because you can just easily play off as like, oh, I had to play low key in the beginning because there were
Yeah.
so many. Which honestly is a sound strategy because like if you're the biggest guy in the room, everyone's going to be targeting you.
Hmm.
Um, or like so you kind of have to play low key in the beginning. That's why Tommy won. That's why Dean made it to as far as he did. He wasn't like the biggest threat in the room like ever until like near the end.
Hmm.
So like
Yeah, 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 exactly. Like Jenna Maraska won Amazon because she was considered not a threat until the end, where she then just started winning immunities.
yeah. Or let's see, Brad Culpepper, if he brought Ty, could have won that season.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Even Jeff tried to like show him like, hey, if you did this one little tweak, then you would have won.
they didn't do that this season. I think
Yeah,
because it was pretty clear cut, you know.
yeah. I don't. I think Dean needed to do things a few tribals earlier than when he started doing them.
True. I mean, hey, he still made it to second place, so that's
Second
still
place, yeah. The prize money for second place is 100 grand.
speaking of which,
Yeah,
the SIA Award.
we had three winners of the SIA money.
I knew Elaine was probably a shoe in.
Yeah,
I in
100%.
fact like that's probably who was going to win. Janet was a close second, and she won. I was a bit surprised that Jamal won.
Yeah, well, he did get less money. He only got 15 grand, but
Yeah,
I can see it because he did had a lot of teaching moments
yeah. I
throughout the
mean,
season.
especially in the last in this reunion, like like I see why he's a guidance counselor, right?
Yeah.
Like that season was just like, all right, yeah, he's just super good at it.
Hmm.
He's a great talker.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I can see him doing some life coach things. Like I would imagine someone like that where you're in public school and stuff like that. It's something where you're there because it's your calling. But the
Hmm.
dude had like he has a real knack for it. So I'm glad he's doing some good stuff for the youth.
Yeah, he's another guy I would welcome back in another season of Survivor because I think he is a great narrator.
Exactly. Um, I was a little bit surprised because I thought when Jeff said three, I thought Kelly was probably going to get one because of what happened.
Same. Yeah, that's what that I thought that she was going to get like more than Elaine. I thought that's what they were leading up to.
Yeah, but I guess it's time.
Yeah, we got to talk about. Oh, wait. First, we got to talk. So Jamal and Jack are roommates now.
I know. Oh wait, how did I on that topic? And I haven't written.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't think about it too much because Jamal looks older, and so I don't necessarily think about stuff that way.
Uh-huh.
Because Jack is a youngin. Like,
Yeah. He was the youngest one on the season by like a good margin.
yeah, so it was like, oh wait, they're roommates now, but that's super cool. Like, you never know where you're gonna meet a good friend like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're not showmance, but bromance and stuff.
Yeah.
Really good moments. It wasn't like too heavily touched on, but
Mhm.
like you could definitely see that there was a friendship there. And I didn't see any of the Ponderosa, but I would imagine like theirs was, or like they touched on that a little bit.
Yeah. So they both were into musical like theater kind of that kind of stuff. Like they really liked songs and all that stuff, and so they made a song at Ponderosa.
Uh, uh, I don't know why. I guess because like in my mind, it's like their Survivor adventure is over, so I kind of like to like think of it that way.
Hmm.
In a sense. I guess that's maybe one thing. Also, I'm crazy busy. Like, I've been up since 6 a.m.
Yeah.
and I'm still not done with my day.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
I've been working like nonstop, so whenever I get like a day off like this, I enjoy it.
I understand.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, like, but that's one of the cool things. Like, um, about like these shows in general, or like working with someone and then really finding someone that like you can relate to. Because like even when Tommy was talking about his blind sides and everything, he was like he took it was nothing personal against anyone that he voted out. Wasn't personal against Chandler or Lauren. It was just gameplay.
Yeah,
And
like
like
he knew
things.
he had to get rid of these people if he wanted to win.
Exactly, exactly. And you know, some good friendships can come out of there. In fact, Pascal put it best in season 4,
Hmm.
where you're around these people 24 hours for up multiple days in a row, depending on like how long you actually stay in the game. You start to know these people, at least time wise speaking, you get to know these people better than a lot of friendships you'll have in your lifetime. Because
Hmm.
especially in adulthood, what I've been learning, it's like sometimes even your greatest friends you only see every now and then, like
Yeah,
maybe once a week or once every other week. It's just, you know, how it kind of goes sometimes, especially, you know, in adulthood, you know.
yeah. Whereas Jack and Jamal, I mean, they were together from day one, and they were always together until Jack got voted out.
And then, I mean, that was only a
And
few more days. And
yeah,
then,
and then a
they,
few more days, Jamal gets voted out. So yeah,
so yeah, well, I mean,
yeah,
that's great. If
yeah,
there are, friendship is always a great thing to come out of
yeah,
anything. So,
yeah. Also, Jack baked cookies for Kelly and Jamal.
ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
and what's funny was like that was like a running gag was Jack baking cookies for everyone, and then just all of a sudden it just stopped. Yeah, it just they just didn't show it anymore, or he just didn't wasn't making cookies for people.
Or maybe the editors are like, all right, all right, all right, we've seen the cookie day.
Yeah, but it was so interesting. Like literally, they would all come out to hug, and Jack would be like, "Come on, I gotta show you this cookie."
Well, I mean, I definitely think Jack, I felt like if there was anyone pre-merge that I would want back, probably be him.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
has that.
I feel like he was the pre-merged Dean. Like I feel like if I think that their types almost are very similar in a sense.
I would feel, no, I feel Jack had more of like a youthful look at the world as
Mhm.
well, as
Yeah.
opposed as opposed to Dean, where Dean like he's mid late 20s and like, you know, or like Dean is kind of like, you know, the hot guy, stuff like that, kind of like
Mhm.
airy a little
I mean,
bit.
I think Jack has some of that.
Jack has that, but I wouldn't say it was his like most prominent trait.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, Jack, if she lasted longer, because we didn't get to see a lot of her, Molly, um,
Mhm.
Chelsea. I also fuck, I'm forgetting the one guy that I thought was going to be asleep.
Oh,
Was going to make it.
Vince.
Vince, yeah.
I knew he wasn't going to go very far.
I thought yeah, because especially with the meta of like get out the big threats first, it's like, I wouldn't have expected him to go out so early. You
uh,
know?
oh, I think you want to get rid of big threats, but also if you are a big threat, you want to get rid of the lower threats. So it becomes a battle of how many big threats are there and how many small threats are there.
Well, I mean, and then showing yourself that you're not a big threat. In
Yeah.
some regard as well, like
Uh-huh.
what Tommy had to do, what Tyson way back in his day had
Yeah.
to do.
Jeremy did the same thing.
Yeah. Um, oh, Jeremy, with the whole like hiding the baby truth, like that's
Mhm.
something he had to carry around for like so long.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
incredible news, but you can't tell anyone. That would be killing me inside.
Yeah, exactly. That was I'm excited to see him again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But before we get into that, we're almost there. We just have to
We
go.
still have to talk about this moment.
I am glad that Survivor is, because this is something where it's not necessarily new, because we had one incident in season 4
Hmm.
ish, but you know, like it is something where it is more socially relevant than it has been in recent years, where we're in the days where all these different movements for equality are like they've always been around, but now it's like very, very prominent in our society, which is good. And the whole day, but like, I understand from the producers and everything, not necessarily like, oh, they got a show and stuff like that, but in the sense of like, like how do we legit handle this? Because like we give them off with a warning. Do we do this? Do we do that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like it's tough because like yeah, they're putting the show together, but also it's like these are things that are happening. This is outside the game. And I will say that Missy and Elizabeth getting heat for, using that as gameplay, I think that was well deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty much taking advantage of the situation. Um, I mean, hopefully they're not like, ostracized for it,
Mm-hmm.
forever.
Yeah.
But like they've learned their lesson in the sense of like they realized that was wrong, and I guess they didn't also get the
Yeah.
gravity of the situation.
Well, so I guess when they pulled everyone to the side and like addressed it, they didn't really do a good job at it. It was a brief kind of like right before a challenge, just like, hey guys, if you ever feel uncomfortable, come to us. Like it wasn't a, hey, there's been something going on here. We need to
I
talk
was kind
about
of getting
it.
that. I was getting that vibe just the way he was saying of like he was saying they should have been more direct about it and everything, and I'm
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, and
but
so
it
that's the only reason why I don't think they deserve any heat is because in the time they didn't realize what was exactly happening until afterwards. And at that point, they felt like because they're in the middle of the game, they can't they were already at that.
in stress state.
Yeah.
I mean, and even Aaron brought up a good point in the sense of like, or a good point from someone that is not necessarily going through it, whereas like sometimes people have the mentality of like, because there are a lot of friends out there that are like, oh, if you have a problem, you just come to me, and they're honest and true about that. Um, I know I'm one of the people where if my friend's going through something, I'll talk to them about it.
Hmm.
But just because that door is open doesn't mean everyone is going to come through that door, especially if it's something like this where it's a very serious thing, and like it can be hard to admit that these things are happening to you just as a person, um, because it's one thing. It was like, yeah, um, going through it is one thing, but admitting that it's happening to you is a totally different thing.
Hmm.
Like it's more of a psychological thing of like you as the person, like, yeah, it's something you're dealing with, but it's like once you say it and once other people know, it becomes real. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
like real.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think Kelly will ever want to come back?
I think she will. I think she will in the sense of like, one, she doesn't want to be defined by this.
Hmm.
So I feel like she would want to come back because she didn't feel like she got a fair shake at Survivor because of the whole damn thing.
Hmm.
Um, Another reason is, it's Survivor. You kind of have to go back in a sense where it's like, I think she would have a better time this time around. And also it's like another shot to win $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah, and she was a great player. Like she came up with some very creative strategies and stuff. Some of them I thought weren't very good, like good gameplay, but they were fun to watch.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like definitely if she lasted longer, she could have definitely been an MVP of the
yeah,
entire season. It's
yeah,
just that one thing just kind of skyrocketed everything.
yeah, exactly. It's sad when a player gets put in that kind of box. Uh, okay, well,
At least they,
yeah,
at,
go for it.
forward, at least they're going to move forward, and hopefully we do not have to worry about this in any other Survivor season.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and not only that, they were talking about with other, shows and all that of like now they've learned from what Survivor had to go through. But yeah, but I don't want, this season, the last thing we talk about to be that. So if you were to choose your favorite moment from season 39, what would it be?
Oh, probably Nora using the leaves to figure out the numbers.
Uh, God, if I were to choose one, um, it might have been early on, but I just really loved it. Episode 1, Janet building the fire.
Oh yeah, you really like that?
Because it was just like it's a simple moment, but it was so badass, and it was like the start of something great, which was Janet as Survivor contestant.
Hmm.
Uh, I definitely think out of everyone, it's tough. I think Janet is my favorite. Elaine is like a close second, like not by, um, not by. It's like super super close, but
Hmm.
Janet I would say was my favorite. Elaine is like just this shy.
I'd probably switch those around where it's like Elaine's there and then Janet's right next to her.
Where is Karishma on your list?
Krishna, like number 4.
Let's see. I would say number 3 for me might be her. I think on it. Tommy might be number 3. Number 4. Trying to think of everyone.
It's Karishma, I'm telling you.
I don't. I wouldn't say she was one of my favorites.
Who else you got?
I think honestly, Nora
Dean?
grew on
Oh,
as a
Nora.
character. I
Yeah.
think Dean, if I were to choose a top 10, he would be in that. I mean, like in the upper
Yeah.
levels.
Dean's interesting because sometimes he's really great TV, and other times he is completely bland.
I think he planned in the beginning because, like I said, he had to be the dumb guy that's.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah. So I think you already said MVP of this episode, and I kind of agree. This was definitely Dean's episode
Yeah.
more than
And,
ever.
and yeah, it's even though Tommy wins, like you could easily say, "Oh, Tommy's the winner; he should be the MVP." But it's not. It was the game as a
We're looking
whole.
through
He
the
was better.
If we're looking through this episode, Dean, if we're looking through the entire season, Tommy.
Yeah, I still don't think he was the best player of the season.
No, I think definitely Janet
Yeah,
was a good one.
yeah.
I feel Kelly, she had so much potential, but alas, got cut down too soon.
Gosh, this light is killing me. I'm like, I can't find a good zone for my camera.
All right, throw us over. Now, we officially, unless we bring it up in a different video, are done with 39. Now
Yes.
we can finally appropriately talk about season 40.
Hmm. Finally, because we kept in many episodes talking about season 40 by accident.
That's so cool to talk about.
Yeah. We've never had an all winner season. We'll probably never have another all winner season.
I mean, who knows? I mean, I feel Survivor could potentially go on even further. It depends.
Maybe,
Like,
maybe if they get to season 80, and I don't think they're going to make it to season 80.
you never know. You never know.
Jeff Probst
Um,
will definitely not be the host at that point.
I know we were talking about it at one point, but it's hard to think of anyone not being,
Yeah.
anyone else being the host of Survivor.
That's why, like, at most, like, I honestly think Survivor might only make it to, like, season 50.
I mean,
I could see them doing a big farewell kind of thing on season 50.
if Survivor lasts 50 seasons and they call it there, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
we'll have a lot of Survivor still left to go still. We'll be fine.
But who knows? It's not technically over yet, so we're just going to pretend. But
Yeah.
wow. It's funny because early on, as we mentioned, like, they kind of hinted at, the all winners thing. It was like, wow, I wish we could bring you guys back.
I was like, come on, a lot of people know the cast already. They already know the season.
In the age of the internet, if you
Yeah.
want to look up something like that, you have the
Yeah.
power.
I always look up near the end of a season, like, what's the next season? I always just do that.
I mean, with since we are doing this now, it's kind of like a thing of like it's kind of a staple.
Yeah.
Um, but I kind of like try and keep in the dark a little bit, except for season 25, because I was interested to see who the Medivacs coming back would be.
Uh-huh.
Um, so other than that, I've kind of been well, fans versus faces favorites. I also kind of looked at online, the one with Cochran.
Yeah.
Um, Blood versus Water, yeah. Um, so around that time,
Returning seasons, you're very more likely to look it up.
yeah, because when it comes to like newbies and stuff, like I don't know these people,
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn who they are.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of don't care because you don't know them yet.
Yeah. So the trailer looked pretty cool. It was edited
Yeah.
pretty nice. Bringing in different aspects, like you've been talking about the survivor currency.
Hmm.
That's going to be interesting because, like, kind of like what I said earlier about playing to your strengths. Each of these contestants they have their own kind of like their own way of like playing.
Hmm.
Like Boston is more of a mastermind, while someone like trying to think Gen X versus millennials.
Adam Klein.
Adam, I wanted to say Mike for some reason. Um, like he was more of like tooth and nail scraping for any chance he could.
Hmm.
Uh, like so they all have their own like different ways of playing the game, and so like their advantages and what might tailor fit them more so than others.
Yeah, I think that Yule is going to be using the survivor currency a lot to his advantage, like probably more than anyone else.
Why do you think specifically you'll?
Because it just seems like it's more of an advantage, like a twist designed for kind of an old school kind of player.
I mean, yeah. I feel with Yule because a lot of the reason he got so far was because of of an advantage back when it
Mhm.
was early. Kind of
Yeah.
broke. But next season, there are a lot of people like even Poverty, where the last one she played in season 20, and that was an all star. There has been so much that has happened in the game since then,
Yeah.
like different strategies, different like I mean, because we have, Edge of Extinction coming back. We have we're gonna see Island Nullifiers.
Hmm.
We're going to see all this new stuff. And then the fire making challenge, where I'm not sure, can Parvati make fire?
I don't know. I don't know if any of the old school players might still be able to do it unless they've like been returning like a Boston Rob or a Sandra.
Yeah. Um, Ethan, I'm glad because, I
Yeah.
liked him. He was pretty cool in his first season.
Yeah.
Um,
And he was
he,
battling like lymphoma or something like that. And
yeah, yeah. So like, him coming back after like all this time and then having that underneath his belt, it's like cool,
yeah.
like, seeing that and it's been
Yeah. He's
inspiring
definitely
and
a guy that already I feel like you can't let him get to the end with that story.
depends on whether or not he shares it. Now,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's different in a sense where,
Well,
Survivor,
I get, it's like a common knowledge in the Survivor community that he had that.
yeah,
So if one person knows, they're going to tell everyone else.
true, true. Um,
And that's the thing with returning seasons is like you can't keep a lot of things under wraps because everyone knows at some point.
yeah. Let's see. Also, it's interesting, Amber's going to be back for the first time in like almost 20 years, like
Yeah,
almost like 16 years, basically,
yeah,
which, like, wow, that is such like a layover.
uh-huh,
It's like, well, I mean, she was being a mom and stuff like that. And granted, the season she won because coattailing and vengeful, vengeful jury.
Yeah.
But like it's interesting to see her play. One being in the sense of like she's married to some people consider the best player that has ever played the game, and also someone who like this is the first time she's playing with in such a long time. And
Yeah.
yeah, he has Boss and Rob as an ally, but it's more like her as a player, because I highly doubt they're gonna let those two get together.
Yeah,
I mean,
I do think that if Boston Rob's tribe loses one of the first immunities, he is going home. If Amber's tribe loses one of the first immunities, she is going home. Like, and it's literally who loses that.
I don't think she's going home. I think it's get rid of the biggest threats. Amber is not necessarily a threat. Boston Rob is. It's like
I just think that they're going to try to they're going to do the blood versus water thing where they're just going to target Boston Rob.
If you get rid of Amber,
because Amber's not a number for them. You got to remember that she is never going to be a number for that tribe. She's always going to be a number for Boston Rob.
True, but early game, you have to still like go strong with your tribe.
But also, there's going to be a lot. Also, in my opinion, a lot of winners are very safe players, and I could definitely see them trying to play a safe game at the beginning of it.
I don't know. It is different because the meta of like getting rid of the strongest players first has been a rather new thing. But at the same time, it's like all winners, so they all know like at least how to get to the end once.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah, I'm just afraid that the big targets are going to get targeted like game changers, and then we're going to be left with like the Michelles and the Sophies and the Ambers.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it all depends because, like you said, everyone knows each other's shit. And like if like they want to bring. Well, I don't know if they know that they're coming back for an all victor season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming at some point they had to have known when they saw that their whole boat was consisted of winners. They knew it.
Yeah, obviously, but like in the sense
and also I believe when they did the casting, when they called, they used that as a negotiation tool to get people back.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have stated that they wouldn't come back unless it's something big, and so they use the all winners to get certain people back, like Yule.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Because part of the reason, like with Sandra, I'm like, why did you come back for Game Changers? It's like, well, I fuck up your record.
Yeah, I think if she didn't come back for Game Changers, but came back for this, and even if she lost early in this, it'd be like that's fine because she was against literally some of the best players to play the game.
Yeah. But yeah, next season's going to be interesting.
Yeah. It starts on in February 2020.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be, gosh, next decade.
Yeah.
My bottom cap.
Yeah. And we'll make sure to in between then give you guys some more content, a few things here and there to satisfy your Survivor tastes.
Oh yeah, it's been fun. When Joe asked me to be a part of this, I thought, it would be cool to talk about like Survivor and have someone consistently to talk to about a show, because especially in the day and age where we stream everything, it can be hard to like talk about a show because this person is not on this episode, or they fell behind, or I pretty much binged everything in one night, but my one friend, he's doing it one day at a time or 1 week at a time, and so there's so much I want to talk about, but I can't because he's on episode 3 and I'm already caught up on everything. Yeah, so it's been great. It's like straight up talking, and so playing more or talking more Survivor. That's always great.
Exactly. This is like the first time I've actually really been able to talk to someone about Survivor. So that's been great.
Definitely. Skype high five.
High five. Oh. Yeah. So we'll be back actually next week, the day after Christmas,
Yeah,
uh, with another little thing. I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna have planned for then, but stay tuned.
guys.
um,
You have a great holiday, and we'll see you then. Also, for my friends watching Star Wars at home, may the Force be with you. Well,
that's right. Star Wars is coming out today.
that's why I'm wearing this. Also,
Nice.
this Christmas sweater, so I have to.
Cool, cool. Okay. Well, this has been an hour and 20 minutes.
Now, it's always longer.
Yeah, we have to talk a lot because there's also the reunion. It's a long episode. Yeah,
But hey, at least we did it without 18 commercial breaks.
that's true. Why watch Survivor when you can just watch the day after podcasts?
That's
Yeah. Okay. We'll see you guys next week.
peace out.